Yep, we're on.
Your rats, no doubt, have been getting the royal treatment from you. And during the last week, it's a good bet you became attached to them. But remember, your care is only one part of a controlled study, a controlled examination, where you're using scientific procedures. Remember? The scientific method. Oh, speaking of observations and recording data, how are your rats now at the beginning of the second week? Well, there are so many questions that need to be asked that you might think of today as the big question day. And now, for example, did you notice any difference in the size of your rats? Do they seem contented? Or as you watched them day by day, did one or the other seem more active? Remember what we said earlier? That we're not going to make premature conclusions about describing that activity as nervousness, because you really can't tell that this early in the game. Okay, so how did your rats do? Gain weight? If rats like the same foods as us humans, do you think one or the other might have under-eaten, like some of us do, or overeat, like some others? Or do you think maybe your rats ate all the food they should have eaten and just grew the way they did based on the similarities and that one difference in their diets? Maybe the control rat grew to a fuller potential, and maybe the treatment rat just didn't grow as much. Next, whose tail was longer? The plain one or the marked one? Now, the big question. What made the difference? The amount of food? No, they both had the same amounts to eat, didn't they? Remember the idea of nutrient patterns? Your rat's food has a pattern of things like vitamins, minerals, protein, and many more nutrients needed by the body, all in a kind of balance in relation to the calories taken in. For example, remember the big tree that got nutrients from good soil or poor soil? Was each rat's food like that example, one menu with more nutrients, the other with fewer, but both with about the same amount of calories? Everybody needs a certain amount of nutrients and a certain variety each day. And when you get the right amount of each of these nutrients in balance with a certain amount of calories, you're getting what we say is 100% of your daily needs. Now, the amount of nutrients required each day for your fullest growth is different for each of you. The kinds are the same, but the amounts are different. You see? A baby needs one amount of nutrients, an adult needs another. Your needs are different from the needs of your friends. In fact, different amounts are required for people because of all kinds of differences, tall or short, like being quick and energetic or slower and easier going. So maybe it's worth repeating something we just talked about. The trick, again, is to get the right amount of nutrients for you and get the right amount of energy in a sort of balance. So if you're choosing foods that supply less energy than you need, you use the energy already stored in your body and you lose weight. And if you're choosing foods that supply more energy than you need, you may gain weight.
Okay, today we're going to get back to our nutrient charts here. And what we'd like
Your teacher will be using food charts to illustrate ideas about nutrition, but there aren't enough different charts to cover each different person. So we use a sort of average imaginary person. You'll be looking at charts for the requirements for a rather average young man who gets a limited amount of exercise, probably a lot less than you do. So although the charts aren't exactly designed for your individual nutrient needs, they will give you an idea of the amount of nutrients in different foods and of nutrient patterns. Oh, and speaking of nutrients in foods, did you know that many labels on food packages tell you the amount of nutrients in the food? For example, the left label represents food with more nutrients than the one on the right. No, you can't rely on just one food to do the whole job. But in comparing the nutrient pattern on the label on the left with the label on the right, you can clearly see that choosing one product in the marketplace over another just isn't, well, a flip of the coin, is it? So, you can compare these labels with your charts in class and know that they all relate to the same thing, the nutrient requirements of Mr. Average Man. All right, let's look at a chart or two and consider the nutrient pattern of a bowl of cereal and 1 glass of sugar water, and compare it with the pattern of the same cereal with 1 glass of milk. Keep in mind that the ultimate question of food choices has to include a discussion of your total food intake, physical activity, and other factors that affect your overall health. But for now, let's just get to know some of the nutrients. So, back to the cereal and the 2 beverages. Ask yourself, which nutrients do what job in the body? Okay, there's protein. It helps build cells in the body, kind of like putting the bricks in place. And calcium. It makes bones and teeth hard and keeps bones healthy. And then there are the B vitamins, like thiamine, riboflavin, and niacin. They do a variety of things for your body. Primarily some control functions, like keep the nervous system running smoothly, or governing your appetite and digestive processes. Even help control muscle movement so it's smooth. And the B vitamins, along with some other nutrients which your teacher will discuss later, also help keep your skin healthy and pliable. Notice that the B vitamins appear in large amounts in these charts in the cereal and milk. How much do you think your rats got? And if the B vitamins helped your rats, how? And which rat do you think got more B vitamins? Oh, before we take a close look at the schedule, keep in mind 2 important ideas every time we add new foods and nutrients to the menu. 1. And this is as ancient an idea as you can find that is still as modern as the newest concepts. It takes a lot of variety in food, all working in different combinations to get the nutrients your body needs. Again, all in a balance and in moderation. And 2. Something called RDAs, part of the tech talk in which researchers like to speak. But it's very important in helping you understand the conclusions you're coming to, and your teacher will cover this. Well, so much for last week. How about this week? The questions you'll ask 7 days from now, in review, will concern a new food group, one you can add to the RATS menu beginning today, fruits and vegetables. Here's your 2nd week schedule for this controlled investigation. Each day, both rats get one of these citrus fruits. Recognize any that you eat? Also, each day, they get a non-citrus fruit, like any one of these, and you get to choose. Each day, they both get 2 kinds of vegetables, the same for each, and the same amount for each. Dark green veggies, or the orange type you see here. And a 2nd type of vegetable, any other kind, your choice, like these. If you want, your teacher can help. Besides the schedule, there's another word to keep in mind. Fresh. And for milk, fresh and cold. Last week you gave your rats only oatmeal. This week, and you choose, it's the same thing or any other grain product. Anything such as you see here. Once again, how much should you give your rats? Average servings, giving the same amounts to each rat. For milk, twice a day, and for everything else, once a day. Here's a question for the next 7 days. What nutrients are your rats getting, and what are they doing for your rats? That's it for today. Just do one last thing, okay? Really wash the cages. Those rats really like a clean cage. Use warm, soapy water and dry the cages well. New shredded paper, washed food jars, and new fresh food, and cold milk for the control rat. And where do the rats go while you're washing? Not on one of those great escapes. Not in a desk, not in a pocket, but where? Ha-ha! Here, right? Hey, hey, rats, here come the cage cleaners. Ho, ho, ho! And boy, can they clean!